from divorce to people getting separated to domestic violence and so on and so forth. Almost every single time something negative pops up in the news about marriage, and I'm sure that you've heard about some of these things, if not all. I know some of you may be asking yourselves, is marriage really worth it? And you know, the interesting thing is that some of these things that we hear are things that happen in the Christian community. So you're asking yourself, okay, and you know, it's really interesting because those days, maybe when you hear things that are like, oh, okay, they're not Christians, but these are things that you hear, and some of you, some of the negative news that you hear come from your faves. And you're like, yo, what's going on? So I want to talk a bit about that today. Is marriage still worth it? Some of you are probably asking yourself this, or probably thinking, I don't think I want to get married. This thing is scary. So I'm going to share a few things with you. The number one thing that I want you to understand is that negative news fly. Like anything negative would literally fly more than any positive news. Listen, there are good marriages out there. There are beautiful marriages out there. There are people whose marriages should make the news, but they are not because it's positive. But anyway, that's just by the way. So yeah, negative news fly. So I'm saying this to say that the news that you hear about marriage, yes, it's true. We are not going to say no, it's not true, or we're not going to go into that discussion, but that is not the full representation, or that's not the full picture of what is going on. But I want to say that it should actually also tell you that it's important that you lay the right foundation before you get into marriage, because marriage is no joke. I'm not going to sit down here and say, oh, don't worry, forget about it. Listen, I'm not saying that will happen, and I'm not saying that you should be scared, but I'm saying that this should probably serve as a reminder that it's important that you are careful who you choose to do life with. I've said a whole lot about who you marry matters. It's one of my favorite sentences, and the reason why I love it is because when I was single, that was one of the things that I literally reminded myself of, that who I was going to marry was very important for me, because marriage can actually make you or mar you. I'm sure you've heard this before, but I want you to begin to ask yourself, how intentional are you being about ensuring that you attract the right person? Because many times we over spiritualize some of these things, and we do not realize that it's not about you just praying. As a matter of fact, those of you who have read my book, Understanding God's Will for My Life, understand that getting married to the right person is not just about prayer. You have to ensure that you yourself, you are the right person. There's more. Get the book if you don't have it yet. Basically, you have to ask yourself, who am I attracting? Because you attract who you've positioned yourself to attract. And beyond attracting, you also have to make the choice. So who are you intending to choose if you haven't yet chosen the person? Now, apart from that, I also want to say that the quality of your singleness is going to affect the quality of the marriage that you're going to have. This goes both ways for both men and women. But hey, my message is mostly directed to women. Listen, my ladies. The quality of your singleness is going to determine the quality of your marriage. So now that you are single, please work on yourself. Work on yourself and invest in yourself so that you can become a better person, and so that you can also get the right foundation before you get into marriage. This is very important, and let me just give you a bonus. If you work on yourself and you position yourself right and you do the other things that I've mentioned in the book, you are going to definitely get it right when it comes to marriage. Choosing the right person is very, very, very important. See, going into marriage with the wrong person is going to frustrate you more than anything, I'm telling you. Another thing is important to remember is that just because you go to church does not mean that you're going to have a beautiful marriage. Marriages work because people make them work. You have to begin to tell yourself, my marriage is going to work, and not just tell yourself that, but prepare as well, because you start preparing for marriage before you get married. Start preparing to make your marriage work. This is very important, okay? I'm saying this because you may be asking yourself, so why is it that Christian marriages are failing, or why is it that church marriages are failing? I thought, once these people get married, and the last time I was having a conversation with one of my sisters, And she said, you know what? Many people in the church think that, oh, you know how we talk about marrying the right person, and in some places we call it God's will. Depending on the church you attend, right? Some people think that, okay, once I get the right person, that's the end of it. That is not it. That is not the end. You still have to work your marriage. You still have to make your marriage work. You still have a role to play. And that is not just about prayer. It's not just about studying the word. It's not just about going to church. There are some very practical things that you need to learn. One of the things I usually tell the people that, I work with is that even the scriptures talk about women learning how to love their husbands. Yes, and so it means that it's not just about prayer, it's not just about the spiritual aspect. There are so many things that you need to learn as a woman in order to keep your marriage, and start learning them now, because being a Christian or going to church or praying does not guarantee you a happy marriage if you do not know how to make your marriage work. And I know that also when it comes to marriage, a lot of people desire marriages, a lot of people desire beautiful marriages, but when it comes to investing in yourself part, only few are ready to do that. For me, I have always been a personal development person. I'm like, listen, the same way you invest in your career development, invest in your marriage as well, because if you want your marriage to grow, you need to invest in it. So yeah, all I'm saying is that marriages still work, and marriage is beautiful. Remember that marriage is not man's idea. Marriage is God's own idea, and it is beautiful. God intended marriage to be beautiful, but He also has given you a responsibility, a part to play to make your marriage work. So just keep that at the back of your mind, that marriages can still work. Marriages still work. There are still a lot of beautiful marriages out there. I am personally enjoying my marriage by the grace of God, but I am telling you the truth, that I have had to learn things, started from when I was single, and I'm still learning. So you have to have that mindset that I'm going to make my marriage work. But remember that it's you and somebody who are going to do that marriage. That's why, again, I'm going to end on this note: choose right. Because if you choose I don't want to say the wrong person, but choose right, so that you can have a partner who want to make marriage work, and that will make it easier. I hope that you've learned something today. I look forward to celebrating many, many marriages. Feel free to, just send me a DM. Let me know when you're getting married, if you're almost there, or, if you're still single and maybe you want to learn more, things like that. Feel free to reach out to me. Let me know what topics you want me to talk about. But also, if you haven't yet gotten a copy of my book, Understanding God's Will for My Life, start from there. That book is going to bless you. It's going to teach you some of the things that you need to know and do to position yourself right, so that you can marry the right person. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.